What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law, and we are here to talk about the 2021 Houston Texans. I know it's a little bit different on the look of the screen. It's because I decided to do a little bit something different. Before I get started, don't forget, check out the link in the description of the video below. Check out my merch shop. This right up here is my merch shop, and it is also where you could go to do it. Don't forget, hit the like and subscribe and hit notification bell so you're notified next time I go live. Let's get into the Houston Texans free agency right after this.
All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I am back, and boy, we got a lot to go over. Hey, Toxic Tommy, thank you for being here. Appreciate you, brother. Now, here's the fun thing. The Texans, much like the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I covered yesterday, have made a lot of moves in this offseason. Now, we're going to try to stay away from the Desean Watson situation. We might talk about it a little bit, but all in all, we're going to kind of go with that, somehow Watson may actually play this season, because I'm not going to sit here and guess one way or the other, because we don't know what's going to happen. What's up, King J? Appreciate you being here. Now, on the free agency, to make sure that, they have some kind of a starting quarterback this upcoming season, the Houston Texans did bring in Ryan Finley from the Bengals and Tyrod Taylor, who personally I'm not a big fan of. Running back situation is solid, right? I mean solid. They picked up Mark Ingram, who's at the tail end of his career, obviously, but they also got Phillip Lindsay to go with that. And we all know what Phillip Lindsay did his first 2 years in the NFL. At wide receiver, Chris Conley, they signed to a 1-year deal. Andre Roberts to a 2-year deal. Alex Eckerson to a 1-year deal. And many of you know Dante Moncrief. Yeah, he's a Texan this year. They also picked up Ryan Izzo on a trade with the Patriots, and Pharaoh Brown re-signed for a 1-year deal. They also, speaking of the Patriots, traded with Marcus Cannon, the offensive tackle who opted out last year for COVID for the New England Patriots, but they picked him up, and Roderick Johnson is re-signing with them. Justin McCray, the offensive guard, signed a 2-year deal with them, and Justin Britt signed a 1-year deal. Now, a lot of trades. The Houston Texans have had a lot of trades. They traded linebacker Benardrick McKinney with the Miami Dolphins for Shaq Lawson. Now, personally, I feel as though this is a way of trying to get a little bit of pass rush since, they weren't able to get J.J. Watt. But they also signed Derek Rivers to a 1-year deal. Malik Collins, the tackle, and Jaleel Johnson both signed 1-year deals as well. Linebacker-wise, because, again, like I said, they lost Benardrick McKinney, their starter for many years, they brought in some guys. Christian Kirksey and Camus Grugier-Hill. They signed for 1-year deals, and they signed Jordan Jenkins to a 2-year deal. At cornerback, they signed a 2-year deal with Terrence Mitchell. They re-signed Vernon Hargreaves, which actually played pretty decent last year. Desmond King also signed a 1-year deal, and Tavier Thomas signed a 2-year deal. They also grabbed up Terrence Brooks on a 1-year deal. Cam Johnson, the punter, signed a 3-year, $8 million deal. And then they got themselves a long snapper in John Weeks. Now, I do want... Oh, hey, Patriots update. Thank you so much. I did change this out. I understood that the last few times I was trying out my background And I changed it up a little bit because some people said, they weren't exactly fond of the pink, right? So I figured go with the regular Colts blue, and then have a little bit of something going on in the background to go along with it. So appreciate that very, very much. Don't forget, hit the like, hit subscribe, hit notification bell, and don't forget to check out my merch shop or my Patreon, because my Patreon is slammed with a bunch of content. It's only $5 a month, and you catch everything. $5 a month, that's what, 2 liters of soda or pop, whatever you want to call it. Now, outside of quarterback, the Houston Texans have really tried to help their offense. They've got a crap ton of wide receivers right now on the roster. Especially last year, believe it or not, Desean Watson played quite well, and he threw for a lot of yards. I think he had like 5,000 yards passing or something like that. They've got Andre Roberts, like I said, Chris Moore, Dante Moncrief, as I explained, Alex Erickson, Kiki Kuti, who, if he could stay healthy, could play very, very well. Isaiah Coulter, Brandon Cooks, my bad. We all know is a deep threat. Chris Conley, a guy who I believe can help this team out as well. Randall Cobb, still up there in years, but is a reliable receiver nonetheless. At tight end, Kahale Waring, Paul Kessenberry, Ryan Izzo, as I mentioned earlier, from the Patriots, Pharaoh Brown, and Jordan Akins. We can't forget about Akins. Akins is a really solid tight end. I like him. I'm not really fond of Ryan Izzo. He wasn't necessarily a big plus with the Patriots. I talk a lot with the Patriots fan base with Ray Rout. But hey, that's what it is. Hey, I want to go ahead and talk my Patriots updates. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that. Texans, solid. Defense, shaky, though. Seems like a 6-11 team. Just plain folks, thanks for joining the stream, by the way. JDW, appreciate you. Colts loyalist, appreciate you being here as well. Now, about the Texans offense being solid, I like the Texans offense. And like I said, they are preparing, in my opinion, what it looks to be for a possible loss of Desean Watson. But I have never been a fan of Tyrod Taylor. Never have been. Those of you that follow me know this. But I think he's a high-end backup. And that's, I think, what they got him for, just in case Watson can't play. Now, when it comes to the Texans' offensive line, though, they have issues. I think they're solid at the tackle position. Obviously, you got Laramie Tunsil on one side, who redid his contract to, free up, $10 million, for the Texans so that they could spend some money this year. And then they got Titus Howard, who wasn't exactly as good as what they were hoping for, but they ended up with that trade for Marcus Cannon from the Patriots, which will probably be fighting with Titus Howard for that starting outside position. Now, they got a crap ton of offensive linemen. I mean a crap ton. Cole Toner, Jordan Steckler, Max Sharping, Justin McCray, Charlie Heck. I cannot pronounce this dude's name. Hajalti Froholt. I probably just chopped the heck out of that name. I'm sorry. Cole Cabral and Justin Britt. Right? Let's see if we got any. No, that's all them that they have. I think they need help on the interior. I think the Texans need help on that interior offensive line. I think that they'll probably be fine at the tackle position, but they really need to upgrade that, especially with the teams that they're facing this year. The Jaguars just went out and got Brown, right? at defensive tackle. He's a solid defensive tackle, and the Colts have got two very good tackles in Stewart and Buckner. I think they need to upgrade the interior to help, especially with Watson being a mobile quarterback. He needs to be able to step up and move out rather than just rush outside the tackles all the time. And especially if he can't play and Tyrod Taylor ends up starting. That's just a scary situation. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this offense. I think this offense, if Watson plays, this offense could be a top 10 offense in the NFL. They got really good running backs. They got weapons at wide receiver and a couple tight. I mean, they could upgrade at tight end, but at the same time, I don't think it's a necessity, okay? But I think they've got good running back stable. I think they've got good wide receivers. And their tackles are set, in my opinion. Spring Hill Jack says, bro, Buckner and Grover play inside. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They're on the inside. And, that's where I think the Texans need to upgrade is, the inside offensive line, right? Because I think their tackles are fine. They need to upgrade that inside tackles, the inside offensive line to protect against those beasts in the middle in the AFC South, especially the Indianapolis Colts, if they plan on doing well offensively against this kind of defense. I will get back to some, what's my beef with Tyrod, King J says. My guy, I don't think he's a starting quality player. I haven't seen it since he's been in the NFL. He's had one good season back when he was with Buffalo, and every place he's went since then, he's not really been efficient to be a top 20 quarterback, right? I think he's a darn good backup. And I think he's a really hot. I put Tyrod Taylor in the same position that I put Jimmy Garoppolo or Jacoby Brissett, okay? High-end backups, really low-end starters. That's how I look at him. I don't think that they read quick enough. I don't think their downfield accuracy, some of them aren't the best. Now, I think Brissett is actually better downfield thrower than he is a short field thrower because he's had issues with, learning how to take some of that heat off the ball. But that's it. Oh, you're good. You're good, Spring Hill. You're good. Okay, let me get back into this with the defense for the Texans because, quite frankly, this is where they're going to need some help, right? Defensively, it's not a good situation. They brought in they've got a crap ton of linebackers. Joe Thomas, Kevin Pierre-Louis, Hardy Nickerson, Whitney Merciless, who's a stud. Whitney Merciless is probably their best linebacker, but I wouldn't really call him a linebacker. He's more of a pass rusher, right? And he had to step up once Jadeveon Clowney left, and at times he shows up and at times he disappears. But the problem is he's getting up there in age. I don't know how much longer I could only see him going downhill because of age at this point. Jacob Martin, Christian Kirksey, as I mentioned earlier, Jordan Jenkins, Nate Hall, Camus Grugier Hill. I might have crushed that name or screwed it up. I don't know. Jonathan Greenard, Duke Ejoifor. A name I just don't know. And Tay Davis. Zach Cunningham. Now, Zach Cunningham is probably going to be holding down the middle of that defense for the linebacking core. Don't expect all these linebackers to be on this team when this happens, because good Lord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No team carries 13 linebackers going into the season. None, okay? Even if you are a 3-4 defense, you don't carry 13 So expect probably 5 or 6 of these guys to be gone. Maybe 4, if they have issues with their linebacking core and don't know who's going to be the overall starters. But Zach Cunningham, honestly, he's a good player, and he's young, and he still has a lot to learn. Defensive line-wise, Vincent Taylor, Derek Rivers, Charles Amenahu, Shaq Lawson, as we talked about earlier, Jaleel Johnson, Brandon Dunn, Malik Collins, Ross Blacklock. Blacklock, of course, we're still waiting to see how good he ends up being because this is his second season. He was a rookie last year. We'll see if he steps up, does something this year. Ozuai Alufahi or something. I know I'd crush that name. That's terrible. But again, no one really steps out of that defensive line and says, I am big. Omenahu, maybe. Shaq Lawson, possibly. Malik Collins, but and Blacklock. These are guys that, not everyone knows who these guys are. And on top of that, you don't know if they're going to be worth a darn, right? Toxic Tommy, over the hill, Merciless, and a cast of thousands, right? It's true. Spring Hill Jack says, off the subject, but I have a very Indianapolis accent. Well, technically, I'm not from Indianapolis. I'm north of it, but I am an Indiana native. I am a Hoosier. So, yeah, you're going to get that from me. I'm sorry. That's just how that works. But let's see here. Let's go back into this. Their defensive line needs help. And I got a feeling that they're probably going to end up in the draft. They're going to probably draft defensive line or pass rush or offensive line, in this draft. I think those are their top 2, possibly their top 2 needs. They've got a crap ton of defensive backs too, guys. I mean, let's just face this. I mean, a ton. Tavier Thomas, Tremon Smith, Bradley Roby, which all the Colts players or fans know, Justin Reed, which we all know, John Reed, Jonathan Owens, Eric Murray, A.J. Moore Jr., Terrence Mitchell, Desmond King, which is a decent pickup that they had gotten, obviously, to help them out. Lonnie Johnson, Vernon Hargreaves, another good re-signing. Keon Croson, Terrence Brooks, and Cornell Armstrong. They have some guys here that have potential. But there's only like 2 of them, I feel, that have already established themselves. So again, but the benefit of this is most of these guys have been in the league 4 or less years. They're still on their rookie contracts, which is nice. There's a few that isn't, like Terrence Brooks or Vernon Hargreaves or, Terrence Mitchell, Eric Murray, guys like that, Bradley Roby. But the rest of them are all, been in the league 4 or less years this season. I think their secondary, I think their defensive line, and I think their inner offensive line is where they really could use some depth and help at the starting positions. I really do. And offensively, depending upon whether or not Watson is playing or not, this team could be very dangerous. If they're not, I look for a very similar season to what they had last year. Because I don't think Tyrod Taylor can bring this team to win 6 wins by himself, even with all the additions he has sitting over there on that offense with all the skill position players at running back and at wide receiver. Do I think they could go out and get themselves a tight end as well? Yeah, I think they could probably go grab themselves a tight end. I do like Akins, but outside of that, I'm not really big on anyone else that they have. I think they have plenty of weapons at wide receiver and a very deep running back core. What are their picks this year? That's That's a good question, Colts loyalist. Let me jump into here. Let me go in here and look. And I don't know fully because there's been trades too, right? Oh, we got it here. All right. So, obviously we know they don't have any first or second round picks because of trades. They don't. They have a third round. Okay, so they got the number 67, the 109th, the 147th, the 158th, the 195, 203, 212, and 233. Those are their picks this year so far that I'm seeing. But they don't have a first or second round pick. So that's not a good situation for them either. They're going to have to draft really, really well. Yeah, Tunsil trade. Yep. And I think Brandon Brooks too, right? Or Cooks. I mean, I keep wanting to say Brooks, but it's Cooks. I think that was a high-end trade as well for them. But yeah. So it's a situation where they're going to have to do really well between 3 and 5. And that's not a good situation. And their defense is still quite shaky. Now, you look at their record and you go, well, they only won 4 games last year. But the first 4 games that they played, they were tanking. As a team, they were tanking. They wanted their GM / head coach out of there, right? As players and stuff. That's what they were doing. So that first 4 weeks, take that out, throw it away. Then you look at it and you go, okay, now they were, 4 and 8 instead of 4 and 12. And both the games against the Colts, we all know both those games came down to the last play of the game, basically. So they played the Colts. Now, it was a divisional game. It was a divisional game, and divisional games usually are really, really tight unless you're the Jacksonville Jaguars last game of the year and you got someone running 250-plus yards against you. But, Jonathan Taylor. But if Watson is able to play, I expect this team to make a jump. I expect them to win 6-7 games at least because they have a very efficient offense. And their defense, though, I mean, they took a step back. I mean, let's face it, okay? They no longer have Benardrick McKinney on that team. They no longer have J.J. Watt on that team, okay? That's huge losses for the front 7. Yes, they went and picked up a couple guys in hopes that they can, replace some of that. But that's a huge hope for like Shaq Lawson, right? Shaq Lawson is not J.J. Watt. Shaq Lawson today is not J.J. Watt today. Because even last year, J.J. Watt still played very, very solid. That's just what I'm saying. So, my thoughts and question is this. What do you think the Houston Texans will do this year in the AFC South? Not just the AFC South, but the entire their entire thing. I think with Watson, they could win 7 games, maybe 8. But you got to remember, they got a tough schedule too. They play the AFC East and the NFC West, just like the Indianapolis Colts and the rest of the AFC South. And those are tough teams. I kind of disagree. Spring Hill Jack says that JJ made a bad choice in his retirement team. I disagree because the Arizona Cardinals are a very potent offense, right? Incredibly potent offense with Murray and Hopkins and all those guys over there. They got a good run game. They got great wide receivers, and Murray's a younger version, basically, of Desean Watson, kind of. I mean, doesn't have the experience and shown the same thing that was, but similar in play style. But sorry. The one thing that the Cardinals had issues with was defense. And they have one really good pass rusher on the Cardinals, right? They needed a bookend to go with him. Hold on. Let me look at this. Because I can't remember. Chandler Jones. That's right. My bad. I was looking at it and I couldn't quite remember his full name. It was Chandler Jones. So now you got J.J. Watt on one side, Chandler Jones on the other. That's pass rush. That means that this team offensively will be able to put up points and then just let Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt pin their ears back. Kind of like, the way Freeney and Mathis, remember that whole situation? The Colts had a great offense, and they just relied on their pass rush to get after the quarterback, during that time period. That's how I see the Arizona Cardinals built right now, And I'm not saying, same players or nothing like that. Murray is not Manning, but just saying. That's the difference. That's why I think that it wasn't a bad idea for JJ to go there. But that's just my thought. That's my thought. We'll see. But you're right. The AFC West is an incredibly difficult division. Well, when you're looking at Seattle, Arizona, the Rams, who I expect to win the division, and then the Niners, because I don't know. We don't even know who the quarterback for the Niners is going to be. I don't think it's going to be Garoppolo. Going back in here. JDW says, fun fact, the Cardinals had the third most sacks last season. Yeah. When you say third most, as in defensively or third most sacks given up? Because I don't know. Maybe given up, but that's just because, I do believe the Cardinals will probably go a little bit on defense and probably offensive line to help Murray out. Kind of similar to the way the Texans are built, right? Only now the Texans don't have any pass rush, whereas the Cardinals have pass rush. But 3 in sack. Now imagine what they're going to be like with J.J. Watt out there. Oh my goodness, JDW. Holy crap. I mean, that's nasty, right? Now they're going to be all over. But then again, look at the division they played in, right? I mean, Seattle, Wilson had no offensive line to help him. That's the whole complaint this whole offseason. San Francisco, they had 3 different starting quarterbacks. And then you had Jared Goff sitting back there, Mr. Indecision himself sitting for the Rams. Now, they don't have Goff no more. They got Matt Stafford. Yes, he was. He was hurt half the season. And Chandler, like I said, a healthy J.J. Watt and a healthy Chandler Jones is a dangerous combo. Yeah, Hassan Reddick. Yep. So, I mean, it's going to be a scary situation. But back to the Texans. I'm not going to guesstimate on what's going to happen with Watson. I don't know. Okay? I have no idea. I do watch the news and I see the reports and stuff like that, but I can't sit here and say, well, this is going to happen or this, because I don't know all the details. No one really knows all the details or what's true, what's not, that kind of situation. So I'm just going to sit back and wait and see what happens. Guys, it says here I only got 12 viewers. That's really odd, being that I've been live for 30 minutes now. Could anyone in here do me a favor and hit that share button right down here? Maybe share it to your favorite social media, whether it be Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is. Help me get some more guys in here. Let people know that I'm out here talking about the Texans. I understand it's the Texans, it's not the Colts. And this is not a situation where a lot of people want to sit here and hear about the Texans. But it's a divisional rival. And we need to keep an eye on our divisional rivals so that we know what to expect when we go up against games, so that we're not caught off guard and we're like, holy crap, why is this team good, or why is this team as worse than what we remember them from years before, right? Did I say Houston Texans? The who? The Houston Texans. I'm more scared of the Rams. JDW says the Rams are scary, probably top 3 team in my opinion with Stafford. I agree. I think that they win I think they win the NFC next year, and I think they have a real shot of making a deep run in the playoffs next year. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, what? They won the division just a couple. Heck, they won 2 or 3 times over the last 5 years, the division, right? And then all of a sudden, kind of like the Jaguars, they just fell off the face of the earth, and the Titans took over. And now it's the Titans-Colts. So, I mean, the Texans were a tough team. But then they started losing guys like, Clowney, Watt, guys like that. Hopkins. JDW says Ram versus Colts Super Bowl. Man, I'd be all over for that. Heck yeah. I don't care who the Colts would play. If they made it to the Super Bowl, I'd be happy. And if they did make it to the Super Bowl, could you imagine how many people would have to eat crow about Carson Wentz? Oh my goodness. Know yourself and know your opponents. Absolutely, Toxic Tommy. That's how I feel. Ant Rogers, what's going on, my guy? He says, I really doubt they win more than 4 games. 2 of the wins were against the Jags, and the other was against the Lions and Pats. Now, the Patriots, they won 7 games last year. And the Lions, the Lions just was having a really bad situation with injuries and the fact that they just weren't able to get everything going the way I thought they were going to do better last year than what they actually were. Hold on. Colts Loyalist says, I think it's going to go Colts, Jags, Titans, Texans. Divisional? I love the Jags offense. They're looks like they're trying to make moves on defense, but I still don't know. Even with Lawrence there, I still think that the Titans will stay number 2. I think the Colts win the division. Titans take number 2. I think the Jaguars will probably win about 7-8 games. And the Texans, it all depends upon Watson, right? If Watson plays, I could see him winning 7. If they don't, if Watson ain't there, they'd be lucky to win 4 again. That's just my thought. Watson's participation is imponderable right now. Agreed. Texans have already started falling off. Tough style. Yeah, but Ryan Tannehill's a good quarterback in a good system with good coaching, and they still have Derrick frickin' Henry, okay, and A.J. Brown. So, they still have an offense. They need help on defense, though. Hey, what's going on, Teddy Belcher? Appreciate you being here, my guy. Thank you for being here. Don't forget, guys, hit that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Don't forget, I got my merch shop right here. That's the link to my merch shop. Got a lot of cool stuff there if you want to help support my channel. I'm also got my Patreon, which it's only $5 a month. Very simple, easy. And you get all of my content on Patreon, whether it's here or somewhere else or And then, of course, I make Patreon-specific videos where only patrons can watch it. It's nowhere to be found anywhere else. So just let you know. Ryan Finley, yeah, I know. I mentioned that earlier. Teddy Belcher says that they got Ryan Finley. I know that. I still think that their other quarterback is probably going to be the starter if Watson's not there. I mean, come on. I think Tyrod Taylor would start over Ryan Finley. But getting both those guys, both of those quarterbacks, tells me this offseason that they are preparing for worst case scenario with Desean Watson. At least that's what it seems like to me. Let me know if you feel the same. Spring Hill Jack says, when will we finally make Hines our slot receiver? I think you'll see Hines split out wide as a slot receiver more often this season. He's still a running back. He still runs the ball well. I mean, he did a whole lot better running the football this past year than he did his rookie year. But when you have Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor on the team, if Marlon Mack is even 90% of what he was last year after that Achilles tear, I think he's going to be that guy, right? Behind Jonathan Taylor, which means you could see Hines. I think you're going to see a lot more multiple running back formations where Hines comes out and then splits wide to create mismatches on him, which would be nice to see. That's my thought process. Teddy Belcher says, do you listen to PFF? I watch PFT, PFF, everything, right? Pro Football Talk, PFT, yeah. Just about anywhere and everywhere, just to get opinions, just to make sure that I know what other people are saying. Not that I base my opinions on what they say. I want to see what other people's opinions and stuff is so that I can kind of balance it out with my own, right? Ooh, can't wait to see Mack and Taylor in the backfield at the same time, JDW says, and I agree fully. I think that's going to be a monster situation. How do you cover that? How would you cover Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor in the backfield at the same time? Or Marlon Mack and Nyheim Hines, or Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines? It's just scary. Just scary. Toxic says, apparently JDW agrees with me as well. Toxic Tommy says, Hines is still one of the fastest Colts, just running straight up, demands attention. Yeah. I mean, he's got that ability to make someone completely and utterly embarrassed in open field by making them miss tackles and just, grasp air. So, yeah, I agree with you. Teddy Belcher says, you're a Chris Collinsworth stalker. Okay, that's cool. I understand. I understand that. I actually enjoy a lot of other people besides that. The Colts are the AFC Saints. I don't know. No, I don't see that way. The reason I don't say that is, you think about this, okay? The Saints are in serious cap issue problems. The Colts aren't, all right? The Saints were like $130 million over the cap when the season started. And the Colts, when the season started, was like top 5 extra space. So when it comes to running a team, I think the Colts are better running it like that, because they don't go out and overspend on people. But talent-wise, I don't know, because we got to see what Carson Wentz does this year. But they're very solid all the way around, I think. They have a few holes that they need to fill with the draft, obviously. Left tackle needs to be filled. Pass rush needs to be filled. I could see an additional tight end or cornerback in the draft, for the Colts. Oh, you're talking about dome football indoor speed. Okay, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. A lot. I mean, they're built for a dome. That's true. But they are a running team. They are built to run the football, which means they can be effective outdoors in bad weather as well, right? I mean, they're very solid in the front seven against the run. They are a very good run defense currently, and they can run the football. And they're built around that, and that's how you win in ugly weather games too. Wentz runs only when necessary. Okay, Toxic. JDW says, I meant that I agree that the Jags may take number 2 in the AFC South by surprise. I mean, it's possible. It is possible. But I still think the Titans are still overall better due to experience. But the Jags, yeah, they got a very, very potent offense. Very potent. But, no, I think the Texans... The best thing the Texans did was get rid of O'Brien, right? But they're in a mess organizationally. Wow, I don't think I could have said that word again. I couldn't say that word 3 times real fast. That'd be almost impossible. But no, I think that organizationally the Texans are in just such a mess that they're trying to rebuild. And then they got, was it Casario from the Pats? And then they went and did a bunch of trades. Casario and Bill Belichick did a bunch of trades to get some Pats players, right? Like Cannon and Izzo and all those guys. So he's probably going to try to bring that Patriot way to the Texans. We'll see if it works. It's hard to bring that kind of style into an organization because it's okay to have that style and then bring in new and then when you're doing a complete rebuild, that's one thing. But when you're bringing it in and trying to get everyone to buy into something like that, that's really hard to do. Really, really hard to do. JDW says Frank's going to throw in options and stuff. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of RPOs and play action, stuff like that. There's no doubt in my mind. Psychological. I'm late, but no fear. I'm here now. Everyone can relax. What's up, my guy? Appreciate you. With the confused organization, how do you impose a winning culture? Toxic Tommy asks. And that's what I'm talking about with Casario, right? He's trying to bring in that Patriot way, which is very similar to the Colts way, you know. They practice hard. They don't. I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying that, but it's the truth. They don't allow any kind of loafing in practice. They practice very, very hard. They figure the harder you practice, the harder you'll play. And if players are not into that right off the bat, then that kind of makes them want to leave, right? And so that's a problem. And in situations of that nature, that's when you just let them go. You trade them off. You give them, they don't want to be part of that organization. They don't want to be part of that whole rebuild, new culture that they're trying to build. You let the toxicity go, okay? And then bring in guys that are willing and able to do what you're wanting to build culture-wise. I think that's why there was a huge turnover, right, from the Ryan Grigson to the Chris Ballard era. Huge turnover because they were trying to rebuild a culture. And it worked. And it almost worked overnight. If it wasn't for Andrew Luck retiring, I think it could have worked overnight. Give me a sec. I need to cough. Whew, man. This is rough. Well, I see some interesting stuff. Belichick runs practice like the Marine Corps. Not a lot of players can handle it. I've heard rookies say that with the Patriots, okay? And new players. When you're a new player or a rookie, from what I'm understanding, they see it that way. But if you're a veteran that's been there with the Patriots for a couple years, apparently it's a lot easier for you, and you understand the system. It's not that they're not nearly as hard on you. I think they try to haze you by making you bust your ass early on as a rookie or a new player to make sure that you're willing to put forth that effort. JDW says, I think we should sign Leonard now because I don't want a guy like Warner resetting the market and then Leonard being more expensive. Amen. I've been saying that for 3 months. You need to get Leonard. Let Leonard set the market. Right? Let Darius Leonard set the market. That way, the next guy isn't like, well, I deserve more than that, right? So definitely, yes. I think, honestly, I think Braden Smith and Darius Leonard should both be re-signed really, really soon. That's my opinion. Quentin Nelson, I think, next year. You know, because fifth-year option and all that. I think we can push that off a little bit longer. Hines is a guy that will probably end up re-signing as well. I'd love to see that happen. Super Bowl rings makes selling a culture easy, and that is true. Teams want to play for a Super Bowl winning team. Kansas City, go look at Kansas City, right? They win the Super Bowl, and then next thing you know, you got guys all over the place re-signing for less just to stay with them. You know, same with Tampa Bay, right? It's the same situation. Oh, you said Nelson. Yeah, Nelson is a situation where he's going to get a 5th round option and extend him out, and he's probably going to get his money no matter what. He's not a guy I think is going to. You're not going to extend him this year. You're not going to. The Colts, you need to drop that 5th-year option on him so that he's not nearly as much. He's already a guard. That's going to help out a little bit. But because he was, pick number 6, that's going to raise it a little bit. You still ain't going to be paying him $20 million a year for that 5th-year option. Maybe 12, 15 million. The Oilers left Houston because they can't win against Cincinnati. But the high level of Astrodome play, short-handed careers. Oh, okay. Colts left Baltimore with Cincinnati's help. Yeah, I got you. I understand that. You forgot about the 5th-year option, JGW? No, man. You gotta remember, all first-round picks have that option. So, and he was a first. Now, Leonard don't get one because he's a second-round player. Same with Nelson, right? So they definitely need signed this year. Guys, man, I've been running here for about 50 minutes now. And I'm still only seeing 13 guys in here. That's weird. I'm used to seeing a lot more than that. That's very odd. Maybe I'm just not as popular as I thought I once was. I am going to get out a video. You know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to do that Braden Smith, but I'm going to drop it on Patreon. Okay? This way, those that are Patreon supporters of mine, which you could find that link in the description of the video down below, will get something special. Okay? For instance, Ant Rogers, my boy, he is a Patreon supporter, monthly supporter. It's only $5 a month. And he will be able to watch the Braden Smith video. And so, with that, let's get to his super chat. Thank you so much, Aunt Rogers, for dropping a super chat. It should be popping up on the screen any moment, actually, and there it is. What does a Hines contract look like? Do you think that Khari Willis is worth an extension with another good season? Very interesting. Okay, so looking at Hines, I could see a $6 million a year extension for Hines if the Colts re-sign him. Anywhere between $5 and $6 million a year. I understand that he's not a solid, bell cow running back, but he is one of those guys. He's a change of pace back that does a lot of damage in the air as well, catching balls out of the backfield. So I could see $5-6 million a year for 2 or 3 years. That's how I see a Hines extension going on. And you ask about if Khari Willis has another good season, what is he worth? Now, Khari Willis, he showed how important he was against the Steelers last year, right? He goes out right before the halftime with a concussion, and then Ben Roethlisberger just starts dropping bombs on that side of the field, right? And Odom is not able to really lock that down. And Willis is a solid tackler. I think that he does get an extension. I think Willis is a solid, strong safety. He should get an extension if he plays another good year this year. Because I like Khari. I think both of our starting safeties, if they have good seasons, they continue to play as well as they have. Blackman, I think, is really good. Khari Willis, I think, has played very, very solid. So I like them all. Yes, definitely. Lawrence, folks in Indy just getting off work. You know this. Laugh out loud. I get that. But generally when I run a 5 o'clock stream, I generally have more than 12 viewers, right? It's pushing 6 o'clock now. East Coast, we just getting off. Maybe I could you want me to push my streams back to 6 instead of 5? Is that an idea that you guys would rather see, right? I mean, if you think so, let me know. I could run 6 o'clock streams, but the problem with that is on Sundays and on Wednesdays, I'm scheduled to join Dear Pat's Nation at 7 p.m. Okay? As an outsider. So that's kind of an issue. This is the last year of Heinz Field before Pitt renames. Pittsburgh's going to rename the field. Okay, I didn't know that. Brian, what's going on, my guy? Decided to join in on how the AFC South divisional favorite Texans are doing. I see the Texans fighting with the Jaguars. Like I said, if Watson is playing next year, I think they fight with the Jaguars for third place. And I think they both have the chance of being 6-7 win teams. If Watson doesn't, they're at the bottom of the division. That's just me. JDW says Desean Hines, he believes, is Darren Sproles 2.0. Very, very similar. And that's a good that's a good name to put him with, actually. I'm a Patriots fan and I show up for Colts Law. No excuses. Thanks, Psychological. Appreciate that. Hines will get at least a 10-year. Dude is never hurt. Crafty. No one gets 10-year. 10 a year, not 10 years. Okay. I don't think that he's going to get a... Okay, so let's put that... Look, guys that get over 10-year contract, or $10 million a year contracts, are guys that really prove to be like... the team can't function without him. Now, could he go to a different team and maybe get $8 million a year? I believe that that's something that Hines could do. I don't think that he's shown that he can be a $10 million a year running back yet. Okay? I really don't. Is he good? Do I want him to stay with the Indianapolis Colts? Absolutely. Will another team probably offer him more money after this season? It could be another reason why Hines is holding back, right? Why we haven't seen a Hines extension yet. Because maybe, Chris Ballard, you know how Chris Ballard is, frugalness on signing players. Maybe he's just not offering enough money for Hines to say, I'm here, And Hines thinks that, if he shows up another really good season this year, that he'll make a lot more money going to a different team. I mean, that's possible. That could be another reason why Leonard's not re-signed, or Smith, right? And that's a scary situation that we have to honestly take in consideration. That Ballard's probably dropping these extensions, these offers for extensions to these guys, and the reason they haven't signed yet is the simple fact that he's not giving them huge money. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not like he doesn't ever do that, right? Ryan Kelly got a $15 million a year extension. So he's willing to do it, and he's got the money to do it. I think it's going to be closer to OTAs when we start seeing these extensions drop, though. Just my opinion. Ant Rogers, why doesn't Malik Hooker have a contract? He's out there. He's visited with like 8 teams so far this offseason that I know of that's been reported. Okay? And I'm thinking he's trying to hold out for the best available offer. And don't forget, he had that Achilles tear. Okay? Now, he's done a lot of, he's went out and done physicals and tryouts and stuff on these teams. So, he went, as a matter of fact, it's kind of weird. He went to the Dallas Cowboys and tried out for them, did a visit with them. And then they signed a different safety that had an Achilles tear also the same year. So, kind of strange. Heinz Field, okay, you're sorry. Blackman did struggle and miss some big tackles down the stretch, but he's still young and will learn. It was his rookie year, Goot. Right, JDW? It was his rookie year. Give the man a time to learn from mistakes. I wonder if they are selling old seats like the Cowboys when they rebuilt their stadium. That's interesting. Spring Hill Jack says, don't forget about the new TV contract. I get that, but until that don't happen for another couple years, the money for that to roll in. And there are a lot of teams that are already throwing money, contracts, extensions, and stuff like that long term. Dallas Cowboys are doing that. The Patriots are doing that. Stuff like that. I don't think Ballard does that. I don't think Ballard goes, well, this is how much money I expect to have. I think he's waiting to see, because he don't want to put himself in a bad situation like the way Philadelphia has done, the way Saints have done, where they're just guesstimating how much the money's going to be. And then when it comes up, something has happened, and then they're in a bad situation. They got to let go or trade a whole bunch of people or renegotiate deals and stuff like that to keep players. Ballard, when it comes to money, Ballard plays it more safe than sorry. At least that's how it looks like to me. Actually, JDW says that he sees Malik going to the Ravens. That's a smart move. I've talked about that too. I could see it. They need a free safety. Ever since their previous one punched their strong safety in the face and then, got let go of. Spring Hill Jack says that Hooker isn't healthy. He hasn't stayed healthy, and that's the big worry. But the upside of Hooker is a huge sell, because when he is playing on the field as a single high safety, he's one of the most dangerous ones out there. It's just he needs to learn how to stay healthy, and that's a problem. Roger says, you mentioned some Colts draft stuff with the team. Can you expand on that, or is it too early? No, I don't know anything about that yet. I can't even talk about it. I did mention it yesterday. I'm just waiting to see what the team itself has for me. They didn't mention exactly what it was, but they kept me with my email, said they'll be getting a hold of me. All you can Colts. Whoa, nice layout. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot. The new layout's better than a neon pink. I remember you saying that, and that's why I changed things up a little bit. I figured, this is more of a blue thing. for Colts. So I went this direction. I think this is a lot nicer, as a lot of you say. All right, so we've hit this for an hour now. Guys, I appreciate you all being here. Please don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're notified next time I go live. Right up here is my merch shop. Go check it out. All right, it's really cool. A lot of cool stuff there. And then, of course, my Patreon down at the bottom. You always want to check that out because all of my content, whether it's here or elsewhere or stuff that I make up, for Patreon specific content, it's all in one simple place, and it's all for one simple $5 a month. There is no tiers. Everybody gets the same. It's just $5 a month, like 2 liters a month. That's it. That's what. Yeah. I want us to trade out of the first round, get 2 second-round picks. It depends. I'll be okay if the Colts do that, as long as there's not a blue chip premier pass rusher there. Okay? Or even a blue chip premier offensive tackle. I get that the tackle is deep, but if we end up with the top 4, if the 21st pick drops and one of the top 4 pass rushers are still there, I hope we get them. If one of the top 3 offensive tackles are there, but not one of the top 4 pass rushers, I hope we grab that. Now, if those 2 sets are not there, I'm all for trading back. JDW, I have a question, Colts Law. Is it expensive to get merch? As in buy my merch or to get merch to be able to have sell? For me, my merch shop comes with my subscription to Streamlabs. I pay a monthly fee for Streamlabs, which allows me to do stuff like, this layout, and it gives me, you've seen the thumbnail. I made my thumbnail with Streamlabs. It gives me my merch shop, the little widget, like right here, when someone subscribes or does a super chat or buys something in my merch shop or something, and it pops up, and this thing right here, all that stuff, it comes with Streamlabs on a monthly deal that I do. Now, my stuff in my merch shop, I think, is fair. I think it's a fair price. That's just my thought. Next, we will be talking about citing a defensive end, because you readjusted there, Brian, and maybe. I mean, Jadeveon Clowney, there's rumors out there right now that Jadeveon Clowney's talking with the Browns. So, and he's really the last, him and Kerrigan and Houston, really, are the last defensive ends left that I think are worth a darn. Aunt Roger says, I'm about to get one of those hats. The Beanie Colts Law in black is fire. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I think Ballard. Oh, and by the way, if you look at it, a lot of that stuff is embroidered, right? It's actually embroidered rather than just the regular kind of crap, the screen print that you see everywhere. A lot of my stuff, like my hats and stuff, there are actually embroidered. So that's really cool. After watching all the highlight tags of you guys, we get at the 21st pick, I'm sold. Jalen Phillips is the best option for the Colts. We need an impact rookie defensive end similar to how, Leonard and Nelson. Yeah, I agree. All you can, Colts. I agree. I really do. I love Jalen Phillips. I'm not afraid of his concussion history, because those concussions came when he was a couple years ago, and it also happened when he had that vehicle accident. He was on a scooter, got hit by a car, and the doctors pretty much said you can't play football right now, and so he had to kind of leave football because of that. And then he came back with Miami, got cleared, played well last year. I'm not worried about it. Brian says, I have to reconnect my cable wire onto the wall and make sure it's tight. I yelled at Xfinity today, blaming them for the internet downtime. Yeah, I've had that crap too. I don't use Xfinity. I use, what's it called? Spectrum. I pay for that really high-end Spectrum crap, you know. JW says, Clowney to the Colts is something I don't want to see. Clowney has a dirty hit on Wentz and the Seahawks and the Eagles. You know what? Okay. I'm not too worried about Clowney. If Clowney signed with the Colts, the only issue is how much money it is. You know, I don't want to see him get paid $10 million. If he wants to sign a one-year deal for $8 million, I'm okay with that. I think that he would be a dangerous addition beside DeForest Buckner, though. Because Jadeveon Clowney is stupidly athletic. Okay? Stupidly athletic and a very, very good run-defending edge setter as a defensive end. So I think beside Buckner, I think Jadeveon Clowney would be incredibly dangerous. Problem? There's problems I don't like about Clowney. Number one, he's had injury issues. He has problems staying on the field sometimes. And then playing with injuries, which ends up, hurting his production. Another thing is he has a history of jumping off sides. As Colts fans, we all know this. He tries to guess the snap count and ends up falling for the hard count and end up getting off sides a lot or encroachment. But if he does, I'll root for him. If the Colts sign him, I'll still root for him to play well because I got to root for my Colts, right? Just saying. Joseph Thornburg, what's going on, guy? Appreciate you being here. That's why he's not signed yet. He wants a bag, but people are wise to his underperforming. And that's what it is. Now, I will say that his underperformance has a lot to do with his injuries, right? He's been playing with a lot of injuries. But the best ability is availability, my guy, and you got to be healthy. And that's a problem that you've had over the last couple years. Colts Nation, what's going on? Appreciate you being here. Brian, looks like he's with me, no to Clowney, but he'll back him up if he does come. Yeah, I feel the same way. Alex, hey, Alex Castillo, appreciate you. Was nice to catch a live stream after spending a week in the ICU. Thanks for the content. I hope everything is doing well for you, Alex. I really do. Shout out. Prayers for Alex and his family. Let's get those out there. Right here in the live chat. Man, I've been on here almost an hour and 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of almost an hour and 10 minutes, I think I need to go. Okay? I really do. I gotta fix supper for my family. And I haven't eaten yet today. I always wait until the end of the day to eat, and then my stomach is all upset. But, yeah. I think that, going back to what we were talking about with the Texans, I really do think that if Watson plays, they'll be fighting with the Jaguars for, 7-win season. If Watson doesn't play, I don't think Tyrod Taylor is good enough to get them more than 4 wins. If you agree with me, great. Please don't forget, smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the notification bell so you're notified next time I go live. Check out my merch shop, right? It's there and also in the description below along with my Patreon. And as you see here, that's my IG. That's my Twitter. Make sure you give me a follow. That way you are notified about other stuff and things that I just randomly talk about. Left and right. Okay? Until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. And as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.